Have you ever struggled to walk away from a relationship that you knew wasn't good for you? Char Jones is a soul alignment coach, intercultural consultant, and a global guide. In this video, she reveals the power of walking away and why you should do it. So, I wanted to kickstart this by asking you what's been your journey so far in your relationships and the different stages of your life that's led you here?
That's a lot. So I will say that on my journey, I haven't had a whole lot of relationships. However, one of the things that I would say is if I'm spanning my life, because I love deep, one who, when I look at a relationship and I look at how I want to be in a relationship, I give with all of myself, right? I love deep, and um I'm not a surface level person, and I don't love uh in a surface level way. And so my relationships have always been challenging for me because I know that if they have to come to an end, number one, I have to honor myself. And I'm okay always walking away from a relationship. And that's kind of hard, especially when we live in a society where we're taught to be in monogamous relationships for life. And I learned early on in life that if this doesn't honor me and honor who I am and where I'm going, and I don't see the connection, then I must be willing to walk away. And at first, that was very difficult for me. But I grew into that. And now I understand that more so, at 49. I understand why I have always been that way. But even with that being said, I think that my intention has always to go into a relationship giving completely, because what I've also learned is that when I do, or if I have to decide whether this is a long-term relationship or it's just a relationship that has been part of my journey, that um I've given all of everything I can to this relationship, and that if I choose to walk away, that I don't have any regrets. And I'm not a circle back person. So I don't feel like I'm gonna ever come back to this relationship. We can, hopefully become cordial. Um, but I would say that my relationships have been very deep, um, transformational at best, and has taught me a whole lot about not only myself, about what love means to me, and what it is to have relationships, because I think relationships mirror you in many respects. So there are things about you that you need to learn from other people, and things that they come to teach you. So I think that has been, part of. So I would say my relationships have been very reflective.
And I think relationships in their nature should be reflective, to be very honest. I feel like relationships are one of those spaces where it really tells you where you need to grow and really tells you about the spaces you enjoy. So it's such a great area to explore more about yourself, and it gives you that pathway to grow. When you were speaking about your entire journey, I had so many questions that came up. But the first thing that I was thinking about, if someone's listening to this, you've spoken about, being able to walk away from relationships. How long does it take for you, or has it taken for you, to realize that something's not working? And what's that process like for you? What happens?
So, okay. So for me, I like take people for face value. So, until you show me you are not who you say you are, like, I believe your representative. And it's until like your representative shows me I'm no longer representing this person in this way. Okay. But I tend to take people for face value. So, and I also feel like you can't just leave. No, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, just arbitrarily. I think you should do the work and realize whether or not it is something that you're willing to commit to long term, or if it's something that's like, but trust we have intuition, we have good judgment if we listen, right? And so I think it just really determined it's determined by that relationship and the things that are going on in that relationship. And so it could be years, it could be months, but I have always been very good with listening to my intuition. And if it just don't feel right, then I have to exit. And so and that's the hard part because you can like really like this person, but it's just not a good fit for that particular type of relationship, a romantic relate. Maybe I just really need to be friends. And so it's hard to determine, but I go with my gut always.
Okay. So when you say you go with your gut, is there something that triggers your gut?
Often, yes. For instance, in my last relationship, there were just things I saw, I noticed that I was like, because again, people, they start with their representative and the representative looked amazing. But then I started to see that there were vast issues that the person had with alcohol. I didn't, for instance, the person smoked. I did not even know that the person smoked for months. So
Months.
they had never smoked in front of me, and I never smelt smoke on them. So things
Oh
like
man.
that showed up that I was like, who are you? But in time, so it was 3 4 months that had went on before I even noticed certain. I questioned certain things, but it wasn't like huge red flags that were like waving. And so because the person became was very comfortable with me very early on, I didn't really notice certain things. And then by the time I did, I was like, it wasn't one of those relationships I could just walk away from immediately because I
Yeah.
was then pregnant. So that became a lifelong relationship that I didn't I didn't necessarily see it that way.